Alright, so we will be clearing out an area. Sometimes you want to build stuff and you don't want to put it next to default buildings, and you need to clear a certain part of the city. And this looks like a good candidate for what we're trying to do. First off, you need Blender, you need Codewalker, and RPF Explorer. Then the location that you want to clear. Um, so let's get to this bit in here. This is what we're going to be using. It's fairly small because I don't want to be here for the next 3 hours. And we will start with the large objects first because it's more obvious about the process. It's more visually obvious about what it takes to properly do that stuff. And first let me get the an object finder in here. Hold on. And so we will be replacing the big objects with a much smaller object that's not going to be seen by the player. That is to not destroy the LOD, the link in between the objects, because if a parent Y map is linked to this object and one of the objects in the scene, and you delete it, that means it's going to destroy the hierarchy, and your uh, objects around the area that you modified may look weird, may look blurry, may look low definition. So I'm going to show you the right way to do it. So go to GTA dash objects.xyz and search for a small object. Usually I just go for the cigar because it's small and the player needs to be real close to it to see it, and also is low poly, so it's not going to impact the performance of what we do. And we go to, if you want to follow along with this, this is the location where you have to go, and then we go to selection, mouse, and we're going to start selecting the entities around and move them around. You have to open the project window because the moment that we start moving stuff around, whatever Y map is the object part of will auto-populate on the left side in here. So we need to keep track of the Y maps that holds the objects we're going to be working with. So I'm trying to get the big stuff first, just so I'm not going to remove everything. I'm just going to give you an idea about how is it done. Select move. That's a decal, so instead of deleting it, I'm just replacing it with a much smaller object, which it's the cigar, right? And this one, that's an overlay. We got more stuff in here. The ground, and I think you understand it's not all that complicated as long as you follow this. Just go one by one if you want to. I'm gonna be doing just a few of them, so you can see it's doable. And move on the next stuff. Like so. So we replaced few objects in the Y map. Again, I have not removed any of them. I just replaced with a much smaller object. Probably if I go real close, I can find the cigar in here. So yeah, that's so the whole that whole big building was replaced by that small object. Um, And you can keep going if you want. All right, so this is the HD, right? This is the highest definition of the drawable. Let's go collect some LODs in here. So you see it's pretty much the same procedure, except for when you have to handle the YDRs, the dictionary drawable. So let's zoom out a little bit. And we have the LOD kicking in. And we replace that. You can again do the same with for the trees. And now we have the ground. And keep on going. We have the whole area now, more or less, like so. Keep going up. And I think this is part of a much bigger drawable. So let's save this first before we start moving the other one, because this is going to be a dictionary. It's not going to be one single Y map or one single drawable. Save all. Save it somewhere where you decided that you're going to be streaming for. I have it on resources and teaching and stream. Make sure you have plans on saving your stuff. I do not like that error. And we're going to close the project window so we can move that drawable that LOD without moving something accidentally and being forced to save the file. So that's not it. I think this is the one that we're looking for. Yeah. So this is the bit that that's the YDD, the dictionary. So we got the name of our drawable of the dictionary. Let's move out a little bit and we can find something else. That maybe it's maybe this one too. No, this one. So save the first one and then the second one. And what else we have in here? And that's it. That's all we have. All right. Let's do the collisions now, because you need to remove the collisions. And we'll go to collisions. Whoa. We're done with the project window. We do not need that anymore. And we select anything in here and we'll take the file name. Actually, let's do the export straight up in here. And we're going to be working with both of those, the high and the regular. Export XML. and we're going to be exporting in here on your folder where you just export the XMLs. You should have two files. We will be importing these two files in Blender to remove the collisions, and we will be streaming the cleared out collisions. That way we do not have anything that we don't want in here. So let's go to Blender, go to Solums, General, Import, go to the folder directory where you saved your stuff, and import CodeWalker XML. Select anything in here, and if you have a full-size keyboard, press that on the numpad. That will make your view go to where the geometry is. So this is the piece of land we're interested in working with. If you hide the regular, you will see the high, and if you hide the high, you can only display the regular collisions. The process in here is very simple to remove all those collisions. You don't have to go one by one. That will be a complete waste of time. First off, we're going to be flattening, we're going to be merging all the objects into a big object. So make sure you're in object mode, select anything in here, doesn't matter what it is, press A, and make sure the high, it's hidden. It's important to keep it hidden because it will merge the high and the regular ones. So after you press A to select everything, press Ctrl and J. That will merge all this stuff into one. It's not visible as in 3D view, but if you can look at this area in here, you will see this one doesn't have children because everything was merged in one under this one. So we do not need those anymore, and we only have one. Let's hide the regular collisions and unhide the high. So right now we're working with high. Press select anything in here, press A to select everything, and press Ctrl J to join all the geometry in one piece. And we pretty much repeated the same process. Everything is under one in one parent, one piece. So I don't think we can use the high anymore, but the reason we still keep it because we need a triangle that we're going to be using, and it's going to be the placeholder for the vanilla, because if so we don't have to well, we have to stream the modified geometry, but not as in remove everything one by one. We're just going to decimate, just clear out. So now with the high joined, press tab or select edit mode, and select one face at somewhere that the player most likely is not gonna be in contact with, like the bottom of a face, and then press Ctrl I to invert the selection, and press delete and then select faces. And this will keep the structure of the collision intact, and you're not going to have any errors in game. So you get in this one, exit out of edit mode, press tab or use the menu, and then you go back to, you hide the high and unhide the regulars one, and pretty much, actually we're not going to do that yet because we're going to be using this geometry to cut the terrain that's going to be replacing the vanilla terrain. So let me pause for a second. All right, one thing you have to be aware of, Although this is not perfectly visible or uh, striking about what's going on if you're not aware of how the 3D stuff works in here and for the game, there is a slope in the terrain that we also have to emulate more or less. And as you can see, the bottom of this whole building, set of buildings, is flat, and they only slope it not exactly from the edge, from some distance from the edge. So be aware of that too. You're gonna have to emulate that to compensate for the lack of straight terrain. You're gonna have to compensate for that. So let's do. So right now we're gonna be building the terrain that the player is gonna be on, and we're gonna be cutting into that terrain using this piece of geometry in here. So create a new plane. You can just add mesh plane, G, snap it to active, and resize. Press S to resize. Gonna make it more or less the same size as this piece in here. Like so. It's very important you put it below it because we're going to be looking at it from the top. Like that. Press number 5 on your keyboard if you have a numpad, if you have a full-size keyboard. I do not know how to do it on not a full-size keyboard, so it's going to be something for you to research. It happens to be your case. Right, so we are now in orthographic view. This is very important because we're going to be slicing the plane into this plane using the other piece of geometry. The way you see that is you go to text info and statistics, and it will tell you which way you're looking at the geometry. So right now you need to be orthographic 90 degrees or 180, but go 90 degrees. First, let's subdivide this plane. Enter edit mode, press tab, and go to edges and select subdivide. Number 2, a edge subdivide. So we now have 8 triangles. So we need to go a little crazy because otherwise we're going to be losing details. So hold shift and press R to repeat the last action. And this is go 32, 128. So we're going to go a little crazy. As I said, I'm going to go like a million. 2 million. All right. Save your stuff because if your Blender crashes right now, you're going to be losing your shit. And trying to save. At least I think I hit, yeah, I hit Control S. For a second I thought I hit Shift or clean area. All right, save it. We're gonna decimate later. We just need the definition from the cuts that we're gonna be executing on this. So call this new terrain, double click on the name, get out of edit mode. My computer is lagging right now. Doesn't like my my stuff. Object mode. Double click the name and call it new terrain. Probably you want to put your name in there so you don't interfere with Rockstar's naming convention here. All right. And then we're going to be selecting the terrain. This is very important, following exactly the steps that I'm telling you. So select the terrain that you just created, enter edit mode, press tab or use the menu. Oh, we have 8 million, so I've done that shit. All right, I guess. And then with this in edit mode, select the the building. So it's you have both selected. As you can see, the outline of the building, it's in blue, but you're still in edit mode with the terrain selected. So go back to top view, hold Alt and middle click so it shows orthographic 90 degrees, and then you go to mesh, knife project, and let it do its thing. I should probably be paused. I don't know why I got 8 million in there. I wasn't aware that I was going that far. But it is what it is. Gotta wait a little bit until we decimate the geometry. Do 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 do. All right, let me pause this. All right, we have now a perfect trace of the top mesh that we extracted from the game, imprinted into the bottom of what we've done. So you can now go out of edit mode into object mode. We're trying to get rid of the some of the geometry first. So hide the collision, select the plane, go back into edit mode, and keep the selection as is, because we're going to be removing exactly this piece of geometry in here. All the polygon, the triangles, polygons, right? And press delete and select faces. And save your stuff. Next, we will be creating a mesh that goes around and follows the contour, the profile of the building that we imported from the game, and then we will be adjusting the height. Let me make this visible again for you. And we will be adjusting the height of it as in to match the curvature. All right, so let's do that. Come on, Blender. With that much detail and still haven't given me the detail that I needed. I mean the selecting power that I needed. Okay, be that way. Number 3, select the face. Press P to detach selection. Select the face itself. Center to mass. And we will be moving the geometry a little below till it touches the terrain that we created on the lowest points. I think this is the lowest point. All right, so we will be creating the walls to match this whole thing. Enter edit mode, select the edge, number 2, go to normal. It's better if you look at it from the top. Oh, what are you doing? And we kind of have to match the height, because this is still accessible by the player, but we know if the player is in here, it's not going to fall through the wall because those are stairs. So kind of need to look at CodeWalker back and forth to see exactly what's the limit in here. Like so. E to extrude on the Y. So you kind of have to learn to use the extrude tool in here. So let me move this edge a little more. So let's continue with this. So I'm pressing E to extrude and Y to extrude on the Y axis. Y is this one, and the Z is this one. No, the Z is up and down, and X is the blue one for me. For you, maybe looking different. Probably it's going to be red, green, and blue. So extrude on Y, go all the way to where this area is, move it outward a little bit, EY, snap it to the corner, move it a bit outward, EY, EY. And you have to do it all the way around. Now go E and X to extrude on the X, and go outward. All right, let me go all the way around and see you when I'm almost done with the wall extrusion, with the delimitation. All right, so I went all the way around, and I'm gonna redo some steps in here. Pretty much this is what's going on. I'm at the last extrusion And I think I want to do it this way and move this edge in here. And now we have to adjust the height for the terrain, because right here we're going to be over and this is going to be under. So select the faces. We're going to go all the way. Maybe it's going to be too high. With the grass, I think this is a grass patch. It's a patch of grass in here, which is going to go all the way up. Select vertices, number 1. I only move it on the Z. Those look like stairs to me. Yep, I hope we do not have problems and keep on matching the height of what we're doing. We're almost done with this step. There's many other steps involved. Fucking Blender, man. You can't just give me a constant orbit speed or zoom. It just constantly needs to fuck with me. On this edge needs to be a little closer. Or maybe not. And this needs to be higher. So we can step from the other part of the world into this world without falling through. So gonna keep adjusting stuff. We're almost done. All right, I think this is good. So we traced, we didn't make any use of our fancy mesh in here because I thought the cut is going to give me a clean cut where I can just select the edge around, press extrude and move it up and be done with it. And we don't have to do all this stuff, but It is what it is. Sometimes you have to use what you have at your disposal. So we're just gonna hide this one. I'm gonna because it needs to be obvious to you what I'm doing. Tweak it up a little bit. You may not get it perfect. I may not get it perfect on first try. And until we put it in game, there is a good chance it's not going to be perfect at all. But that's how it is. So right now we have the collisions that we do not need anymore. So we're just going to hide it for now. We're going to have this bit in here. This is the terrain that's going to be used. So press number 2, hold Alt to select all the edges around, and this is what's supposed to be extruded from the fancy mesh that I first created and I thought it was going to work, but it didn't. Let me adjust this stuff in here real quick and select those two, press F to merge them, and then press 2, select the edge, and press Ctrl X to dissolve. So let's go back to this edge. So select one edge, hold Alt and click it again, and it will select everything around. And then press E and S to extrude and resize. E, S. And I think this is good. It needs to be this way. Look around a little bit. And then press F. And we have the terrain for our area in there. Additionally, if you want to be adding buildings in here and you want to flatten this area, you can just press I to insert again, resize it a little bit, and then start moving the edges down. Or you may even want to use this, right? Come on, you fuck. So press F, I. You can use this face as a placeholder for what you're trying to do. So select this face, number 3, press delete. Select this face, press P to separate, selection, get out of edit mode, select the faces that you just separated, press tab to enter edit mode, select it, and then press Alt and N to flip. And double flip the normals from facing downward and it will face upward. And then you can just snap it to what it needs to be. And if you need to, you will need to readjust the vertices for this mesh to match number 3. Select your fuck. And this edge in here doesn't like to be moved. Of course. Why will it play along? And then we're gonna match the bottom. The bottom of the what's gonna be. And then we're gonna be moving this faces, the vertices, to match the curvature, but the bottom of this whole thing is going to match the curvature, is going to match the world flatness in that sense. So we can go to number 1. Blender, you fuck. Let me pause the video so I go all the way around and see you in a few minutes. All right. Well, for you it wasn't minutes, it was moments, but for me it was. We're almost done. And this is gonna be the terrain. First, we gotta merge those two objects because they're now separated. Press Ctrl J, so select them. Ctrl J, and enter edit mode. Select the edges all the way around, the inner edge of what's supposed to be the terrain and the outer edge, and dig through the menus or get my toolbar. I don't want to go through that. Get my toolbar for free from my Discord, bridge edge, and everything gets now nicely or not so nicely bridged. Usually it's nicely, but you know how it is. Trying to do something, it's always something that will not let you finish the job. All right. We now have the geometry that will completely replace what was in there. So we do not need to cover the bottom of it because the moment we have this in, there's a small amount of geometry that's going to protrude inside the original terrain. So let's put some texture on this one. Look like concrete, like a new place where people can walk on. So we're gonna be moving this out of the way. So hold shift selected to move it out into scene collection. Double click on it and call it terrain. And we're gonna turn it into a drawable. And we're gonna embed collisions just for the simplicity of the tutorial. We do not need any of those shaders materials. because those are collisions. Materials, they're not something that we can use as a drawable. So clean that stuff. And then make sure the center to selected. Actually, we should do that. But I'm not gonna trust Solom's doing that, and I'm gonna do mass or volume. Apply mass. Oh, there you go. Solums convert to drawable. And we now have a drawable with collisions embedded. Let's add a material to the collisions. So we're gonna do collisions, material, concrete, and create collision material. That's all we need as collisions, and go back to drawable, expand shader tools, select the dot model in here, search for default, select it in the list, and let's put some textures on it. First, let's go to edit mode, press number 4, 3, not 4, number 3, press A to select all the faces, UV, and cube projection. On the shader window in here, let's create out the UV map in here. Let's find where we add a picture. We're going to be using this, so this is concrete. Hide the collisions because right now we cannot see the texture because the collisions are on top of it. And again, press A to select all the faces. Move the mouse over the UV editor and size your texture, something like that. Again, you can texture it, you can cut it in different pieces, put grass, put whatever you want to add, a logo, building, or whatever you need to add. But right now we flatten the area, so you can use it as you please. And unhide the collisions. And we have the terrain, new terrain. Let's call it. That's good. That's good. No, don't mess with it. All right. So we have now ready. We're ready to export the terrain. There is one little thing left to do, and that is to clear out the original collisions. We still have those. We need to export this file. We need to export this file to replace the vanilla files after we remove all the geometry in here. If you remember from the previous attempt, well, not attempt, we succeeded to clear out the collision mesh, and we're going to be doing that again. It's very easy. Select a face anywhere on your collision. Control I to invert select. Press delete and select faces. Now you only have two triangles, one face. That will be streamed as vanilla collisions. So save that, get out of edit mode, select the HW1_25_0, go to general, export code walker XML. Repeat, make the high visible, and repeat the process. Export code walker XML. Let's embed the textures for the terrain that we just created. You go to shaders and go to Solums, expand texture parameter, and embed. And I think we should be good. Maybe you want to move this down below where the player is going to be. Okay, so that was part of the high. Export it again. And then we're going to export the new terrain. All right, let's look at what we've done. Where is it? We have these 3 files. Let's look at the drawable. Okay, looks like the geometry needs a little bit of work in here. Or maybe just the shadows, I'm not certain. Not play tricks on me. So now we can move those 3 files on the stream folder of our server. Let me pause the server, start it, and I'll take you there. All right, 1 second. So the collisions should be gone, and I'm only starting the server so you can see that the modification we did to the Y maps took place. This is a fancy 3D loading screen that I made a few days ago. Oh, you want it, don't you? So fancy. Nobody's got it. Just me. Ha ha. We get the location of the whole thing from CodeWalker markers right here. And as you can see, the big buildings that I told you about, they're gone. Most of the trees, you still have to modify the MA collisions. I'm not certain why that stuff is below there. Did I move it or? Oh yeah, the terrain here is sloped towards the that area, so it goes down. But again, you should not have collisions in here, as I specified. These are gone. And that happens all the way around. And the same way you remove the buildings and all that stuff, you can look into the Y map. You have the list of Y maps that contains all the drawables. Just replace it with a much smaller drawable. Okay, let's create an Y map and spawn our stuff. Go to CodeWalker and take the path where the stuff is. Open folder. Go to where you stored your stuff. Yeah, the magenta stuff, the pink stuff is the grass. That's how you know how to remove it. So we're gonna go new Y map. We're gonna call it. I like to keep it constant. Name it in a way that's constant with what I do. And then go new Y type. Save. Save. Now it's very important. Close the project window and reopen the same folder. Select the Y type, our archetype from YDR. Select the new terrain that we just created in Blender. Save all. So click the double save icon a few times. Press escape and close. So you need to close the project window at least twice in between saving the Y map and adding the drawables to the Y map. It's very important. So we now have that in the Y map. Double check it's in there, and then select the Y map, into a Y type, and then select the Y map, new entity, and we're going to be using the name of the terrain. I do not know why. Oh, I'm looking at the collisions. I'm not looking at the drawable entity. Come on, Kawalker. This is going to be a little weird to fit. It all looks easy because I do it and I have a little bit of experience with it. But it's not always that easy when you have a large piece of geometry like this. So it looks like we need to rotate it. Okay, so for some reason I did not know there's a chunk of terrain missing in there, but you can fix it in Blender. Okay, I wasn't paying attention enough, or it's just yeah, you're gonna have to do some decal cleanup. You have floaters around, but that is no more complicated than that. If whatever you watched for however long right now, I do not know how this whole thing is. How long is it? Hold on, I do know. It's 2 minutes to 1 hour long. So I think this bit in here it's covered by a decal, and it's not properly doesn't properly show in the geometry that I imported, or maybe it's just a slightly rotated. Yeah, most likely there's decals in here. All right, so let's do a server restart and walk on this terrain. On a beautiful terrain that we just created in here and cleared out the whole thing. Try to keep it under 1 hour. So save your stuff. Restart the server. God damn it, I gotta restart. I gotta log in. So it's not gonna be under 1 hour. One minute left. And restart the server. 1 minute to an hour. We may actually make it. We may actually make it. Oh, I forgot to create a manifest. All right, let's create a manifest. Tools, manifest generator, generate, save. We can still make it. Terrain, YMF. Restart the server. 20 seconds left. No, we cannot make it. Damn it. I really hoped we could. It is what it is. Ten seconds. and 1 hour. Well, it's still pretty good considering that you got the basic understanding on how to completely clear out an area and have your own custom piece of land that where the game assets are not going to show up. That's how you do it. Clear out the collisions, clear out the terrain, and the LODs and all that stuff. We have not touched upon editing the LODs, so I guess we're gonna do that. So this is gonna be a little over an hour. Now where is that? God damn it. All right. Yeah, the flickering you see is because the occlusion. We're gonna clear that next. The occluders. But here you are, completely new piece of terrain, completely new piece of land that you can customize as you want. Right, let's clear out the occlusions, and reopen the folder. Go to selection, occluders, and we know exactly which one to remove from where because they're just floating. So again, you need to have the project window open, select anything in here, and we can just delete it. Boom. Blue boxes. All right, we're only going to be removing the triangles that are peeking out from the ground. So just right click on it and press delete on the keyboard. Like that, move around. Like so. So we have removed the motherfucking occluders. Save. You don't have to recreate the manifest. because already in a YMap, in a manifest because it's a vanilla YMap, and I said we're gonna be changing the LODs. Let's shift to entity. I do not know why do I see the rows disappearing, because I remember I have not saved those Y maps. Alright, let's close CodeWalker and start it again. And while that happens, let me restart the server so you can see what it looks like without the occluders. And start 5M. Alright, that's exactly what we expect to see. Of course, we can increase the distance from where this is visible, because if we look at CodeWalker, let's look at the Blender first. So if we select this geometry, we know there's only, it's under, what is it? Yes, so it's under 1,000 triangles. So this is very low resource. We can increase probably 5,000. So we're gonna be doing that. Actually, let's get on ground level in here. And now you can see nothing is flickering. Everything is stable as fuck, as someone will say. And not so glamorous, but it's just gonna be your job on making it look good with the terrain in place. All right, let's go back to this stuff in here. CodeWalker. Open folder. Select. Then go to entity. And change this to 5,000. Probably that's going to be good enough to the point where we don't even have to change the slot. Again, it's just 1,000 triangles. So let's force that. Put it 12,000. Again, I'm only doing this because it's very low poly. If you have more stuff in there, if your stuff it's a whole lot more detailed, you should know that this is gonna lag everybody. Go back to Okay, weirdly enough, it selected my geometry. Okay, my geometry is still visible under that. Yeah. So we will have to do not save changes. I think I'm gonna cut short this video and start another one because this is 1 hour and 10 minutes long. So in the next series, in the next set of videos, we will be editing the LODs in here, and we're gonna clear out the area so the terrain that we created, low poly terrain, is gonna be visible instead of the default stuff. All right, see you shortly.